get through it scoreless. First innings have been a major problem, and you just have to go back 24 hours to see that, where Bama scored 7 runs in the first inning last night.
There's a lot going on in that first inning, Beth. It's, overcoming the nerves, figuring out the strike zone. These pitchers in the circle have a lot on their hands.
Vandegrift, one of the leading contenders for SEC Freshman of the Year honors. And a swing and a miss there out of Bogart, Georgia. The reigning SEC Freshman of the Week. Not just the walk-off home run against OU, but she hit 400 last weekend. And then she opened up this series going 2 for 3 yesterday.
2 of those hits in that first inning. A single to lead off the game, a double later on in the inning. It's a pretty good first inning at bats.
Brown's last start, she went the distance against Ole Miss, 7 innings, threw over 100 pitches. They've been really good on the road in the SEC, but are still searching for their first series win at home in the league. They need to win today and tomorrow to do that.
Had a couple of tough opponents come to town.
Yeah.
Arkansas, Texas.
Full count to Vandegrift. Got a piece of it. As it stands coming in, both these clubs would need a lot of help to grab an SEC regular season championship, but both very much looking for buys in the SEC tournament. And as it stands right now, both pretty comfortable in terms of being an NCAA tournament host for the regionals at least.
Florida opportunity potentially to stay home for supers as well.
And how about a 10-pitch at-bat to start out for Vandegrift?
She's that prototypical we talked about in the open, leadoff hitter. Hits for average, very fast. Wastes a lot of pitches. And sometimes that's the most important part of that leadoff hitter, is just to see everything that pitcher has. Screwball, yep, got it. Changeup, yep, got it.
Patrick Murphy has had some really good ones over the years. Draws some comparisons to the likes of Haley McClenny and Brittany Rogers. Over 1,300 wins now for Pat, including a national championship, and Vandegrift, an 11-pitch at-bat, draws the walk. How about the scout for Brown?
Well, she is going to usually get a lot of her outs in the air. She's got a good screwball, rise ball combination she uses, but it's 3 different speeds. She will throw the changeup. She'll throw some spins over speeds. Definitely a defensive specialist when it comes to getting help from her Gators behind her to pick up those outs.
Defense has to be wary with Vandegrift at first. Leads the country in stolen bases. They had the hit and run on there. Jocelyn Erickson is very good. The lefty behind the plate defensively for the Gators. Has caught 6 would-be base stealers this year. That's more than 6 SEC teams, their total number.
It's amazing. Well, and she does a great job. We talked about her ability to hit, right, that .435 batting average, but that was her 29th walk of the year, and that's what you want. That was an 11-pitch at-bat.
And now back-to-back 3-ball counts from Brown. Control was an issue in the first inning last night. Hevlin fouls one off. Keegan Rothrock walked 1 and hit 3 others, and did not get out of the first inning with the start in game 1.
It's always about those free passes, so difficult to overcome.
Ground ball to short. Comia gets the lead runner. Williams at second. 1 down. Gabby making her third straight start at short. They're trying to find some defensive consistency there. So with one down, here's Brooke Ellistead, the senior transfer from Louisiana. 0 for 3 last night, trying to bust out of a slump. Just 1 for her last 16. Brown trying to keep that right hand dry. It's a steamy, humid night. The bunt popped up and caught by Cahalan. Kenley at third base, the Alabama transfer, 2 down.
And Cahalan really the only one on the left side. You see the way the defense is so shifted. Look how far off the line she is. She's got to come in on this. Great job of catching that little pop-up. Ellistead just gets under that bunt attempt. Big second out for the Gators.
That'll bring up Riley Valentine. Riley the DH tonight. Marley Giles getting the start as the catcher. Both of them had hits yesterday in reversed roles.
Well, Giles, one of the bats that Coach Murphy really wants to try to wake up. Valentine has been hot as of late, coming around, trying to get that batting average up. But that's the one pitch that Valentine has a tendency to chase after, is that rise ball up at her eyes. And Brown will throw that just enough. She'll lure you into looking down at the knees, screwball, curveball, changeup, and then she'll spin that rise ball at your eyes.
And a called strike 3. Base runner stranded for Bama. Florida picking up the bats when we come back. Fly ball out to White in center, and infield's pulled in against Kendra Falby, the senior from Odessa, Florida, and one of the best short gamers they've ever had here. Also can swing away as she's gotten older here at Florida. Top 5 all-time in hits, stolen bases, and runs scored. Fly ball out to White in center, and Kristen's under it, 1 down.
Now Riley's going to use a lot of different tools. She has the ability to really expand the zone. She'll go upstairs with the rise ball, got good spin on that pitch, but she'll also come underneath your hands. Very good drop ball that she throws about 60% of the time. She'll use her defense to roll those ground ball outs, but she changes speeds as well, and has been starting to use that changeup a lot more effectively. Last weekend it was a huge part of her ability to beat the Sooners.
Boy, if the Tide can pitch like that consistently, the rest of the way they are in pretty good shape. Taylor Shoemaker gets a hold of one and blasts that one over. Her first home run in 21 games.
Well, Beth, and that was her 15th home run of the year. She was smoking in this pre-conference season. She takes a changeup. She's just on time for it. She gets those hands extended and actually takes a pitch that's on the outer half that's elevated, gets around it, drives it out of the park. That's a huge hit for the freshman. 15th home run of the year.
Boy, and a big turnaround for this Florida team. We talked about their inability, especially recently, to get out of the gate quickly, and they have done so tonight. They lead it 1-0. And now what Tim Walton is looking for is, okay, let's start putting these together. We've had a good hitter or two each night, but not the whole group bashing for an entire series. Of course, Tim now in his 20th season with over 1,000 wins and a pair of national championships. Here's Jocelyn Erickson. She may hold the key moving forward. Last year's National Player of the Year. Batting average has been sub 300 in league play. But always dangerous and gets hit by the pitch there. Here's what the rest of it looks like for Florida. Mia Williams is the reigning SEC Co-Player of the Week. Mia slugged 3 home runs in their series win against Ole Miss last weekend. And her 16 home runs on the year, tied for second best in the league behind Bree Ellis.
That's a pretty complete lineup. They've got 5 hitters with double-digit home runs. 7 of the 9 are hitting over 330. So this is a club that can do a lot of damage with the long ball, with the short ball, with a lot of speed. They create chaos.
Here's Corby Otis. All-American first teamer last season, hitting .344 this year, was 0 for 2 with a walk last night.
She's got that unique hitting style where she's really open, that front side, left side open. I think they were asking if she swung on that. Delayed.
She had the late.
Yeah, the delay just working on her hand angle.
Working on the form. And you see that front foot all the way out of the batter's box. Hard shot to Riley to second for 1, and then Hawkins couldn't get it out of her glove to throw to first, so they take care of the lead runner. 2 down.
Good job by Riley to not hesitate on that. Immediately go to second, get that lead runner.
Here's Reagan Walsh. 1 for 3 last night. Hard hit through the 5-6 hole. And they are getting to Caitlin Riley early tonight.
Well, this is the reason why you get the lead runners, because you give up a hit like this through the 5-6 hole with the deep outfield, and it keeps a run off the board. This ball just tattooed right past Ellisted, diving there at third base.
So 2 on with 2 outs, and here's Williams. First pitch swinging, fouls that one back. 0 for 3 last night, but having a career year. 16 homers, 33 runs batted in, flirting with a .400 average. Riley's really trying to work inside to the righties here in the first.
Yeah, and really has the middle to the left side pulled over.
And she gets Williams to pop it up. Ellisted calling for it, and that'll take care of it. But a run up by Auburn, by Arkansas.
Yeah.
Tennessee has won the last 2 regular season titles.
So we talk a lot about parity throughout the country. There's been more and more parity here in the SEC Conference, or the Southeastern Conference.
Larissa Pruitt lays down a successful sacrifice to advance the pinch runner. Kinley Pate over to second. And it's 1 down for Marley Giles, an RBI opportunity to try and tie it up. Junior from Clanton, Alabama. Been splitting catcher and DP duties with Riley Valentine. Marley gets the start behind the plate tonight.
This is the one bat. I think if this one can really, she can be a little more disciplined. Good job of laying off a couple pitches there to get in a leverage count. But when she is on, she can definitely be a difference maker in this Alabama lineup.
Had a couple of multi-hit games at the World Series last year. Of course, these 2 teams did meet in Oklahoma City. And Florida got a win over Alabama. And Giles draws the walk. Second one from Brown today, 2 on for Salin Hawkins.
I think that was a little bit of, you don't want to deal too much with Giles. First base is open. We're going to go after Hawkins and White, 8 and 9 at the bottom of the order.
Hawkins, a 284 hitter. Doesn't have the power of Giles. Is 0 for 1, scored a run last night. Got hit by a couple of pitches.
On that screwball, working every righty underneath the hands, not getting that last call. Alabama front side open, a little bit off the plate, expecting that pitch, knowing they're going to get thrown.
Hawkins knocked down, and making the play to third is Comia to get the lead runner, 2 outs.
Good job by Comia to stay with that after a little bit of a bobble.
Here's the 9-hitter, Kristen White. Tremendous speed down the line. Returning to the lineup last week against Oklahoma after she did not play in the LSU series. Out of Phoenix City, Alabama. That split grip. Kristen had been starting earlier in the year, then came in as a sub in the A&M and Georgia series. Trying to work her way back into the lineup. They've got a lot of versatility in their outfield.
White laying off that screwball in the outer half. I think a lot of the Gators fans wondering where that pitch is.
Glove to third by Cahalan. That'll end the threat. Still 1-0, Florida.
Just caught that on a funny hop.
It's the glove. We're old school, Smittle. Here is Ava Brown, who does hit for herself when she's hurling. 267 on the season with 4 home runs.
Brown, opportunity to open up the lineup also for Coach Walton.
Gives him some versatility. She gets a hold of one. Back that goes. And off the track, one hopper into the wall. They'll hold Cahalan at third, and a couple now in scoring position for the Gators as they continue to hit Riley hard.
Yeah, they are well prepared and almost knows what is coming off of Riley, not fooled by any of the off speed or the pitch that's down in the zone. That's actually a curveball that doesn't get out of the zone. It lays through the zone, and because of that, Brown is just going to get around it. She drives it to the warning track. Big opportunity here for Florida in the bottom of the second.
That'll get Patrick Murphy out. Already plenty of activity in the bullpen with Winstead and Brisky and Hodges all out there. Jocelyn Brisky picked up the win last night in 4 1/3 innings of work. Winstead and Hodges have not yet appeared in the series.
Well, and Riley threw 44 pitches last night, so Florida had a pretty good inkling that she was going to get the start here in game 2. I'm sure they were well prepared, understanding what pitches they want to hunt off of her, and when Riley leaves a pitch over the zone, they're going to be prepared for it. I'm actually surprised they're not throwing a little bit more drop.
Here's Riley Holtorf.
And I think that's the pitch she needs to use. She used her drop and her changeup primarily against Oklahoma and was very successful last weekend.
Riley was 1 for 3, drove in a run last night. As Riley continues to try and hammer away inside to the righties. Missed with the rise, 3-1. And you don't want to walk number 9, load him up for the top of the order. There's Kendra Falby waiting. And that's exactly what happens. Bases loaded for Florida, and here comes the top. Second freebie, the first time through the order for Riley.
4 hits, 2 freebies.
Kendra flew out to center her first time up.
With Falby up, she can slap. She's been hitting away more for power. The defense for Alabama is pulled in, obviously trying to have the opportunity to go home.
Falby reached 4 times last night. One and 2. Kendra 3 and 6 this season with the bases loaded. Two and 2.
Riley hit a little bit early on that pitch on the outer half, trying to make that adjustment. In situations where runners are on base, really standing in and hitting in place, so it's a drop ball in the inner half. She goes down and get it. This pitch is down below her knees, and she's going to bash it right back up the middle. With the defense in, it's an opportunity for that ball to get through to the outfield. Easily going to score Cahalan and Brown. Gators, 3 spot up.
Falby's loving it. With Townsend Thomas coaching first base over there. And the Gators now lead at 3-0. And that may be all for Riley. And it will be Brea Hodges that will come on now for Alabama. We'll take a break. Pitching change for the Tide. April 4th against LSU. The throw down to second in time to throw out Falby as Holtorf comes home to score on the double steal.
This was all about Florida trying to push another run across, getting Falby into scoring position. Thrown out for just the 4th time this year, and Alabama chooses to go all the way down. So Giles with a good arm behind the plate, but the Gators put another run up on the board. Kind of surprised they didn't potentially cut that. And
that Falby got caught.
Yeah, well, because one part of me wonders if Falby was a little conservative coming off the bag, thinking Alabama wasn't going to go after her. You know, that was only the 4th time this year that she's been caught stealing.
A 3-run second inning here for Florida. Shoemaker got under that one. Back on the grass is Hawkins. 2 down. Here's Jocelyn Erickson, got hit by a pitch in the first. That one misses high, 1-1. Hodges, a former prep player of the year in Alabama, won a state championship in high school.
Hodges, some decent velocity. "14 strikeouts coming into this appearance."
That's the other thing I love, Smitty, about this rivalry. You come to Alabama or you come to Florida, you want the ball. You want this kind of moment, even as a freshman, or you want to be like Jocelyn Erickson in the batter's box, trying to tee off.
Yeah, and Hodges is, she's sneaky quick in the sense that she's got a really tight, quick arm circle, explodes off. That ball just kind of pops out from behind her hip, her back. She's up in the high 60s. And she'll do that. She'll dump in an off-speed pitch at 55.
Count goes full. Walked her.
It's the one aspect of her line that she needs to clean up are the free passes for Hodges. But just again, as a freshman, you come into a moment like this, facing Erickson, there's a good chance you're gonna not want to put anything obviously too close to the zone.
Here's the number 4 hitter, Corby Otis. Reached on a fielder's choice in the first. Of course, if you're Florida with the heart of your order here, you're already thinking, hey, let's smash these guys, call it a night early if you can get into that run rule category.
100%. Try to save those arms.
Otis. Back goes Van de Griff and has the room to make the catch. Weekend, are they cranking it up at just the right time? Van de Griff, one down. So when you look at RPI top 25 wins, as the selection committee does, both these teams, Alabama and Florida, are right there amongst the best in the country.
Well, and Beth, and to your point, throughout this SEC season, you're just going to have the opportunity to get more and more of those. But yeah, you're exactly right. Double-digit RPI top 25 wins. I mean, that's a big part of the full body of work that the committee looks at.
Florida coming into the day 6th in the SEC. Alabama tied for 8th as Callie Hevlin steps in. Remember, the top 4 seeds get a double bye. Seeds 5 through 9, a single bye at the SEC tournament. First place Texas A&M has already lost today, got run ruled by Missouri. Hevlin, foul. So if Texas were to win tonight, they would pull into a tie for first place, but they are losing to LSU 4-1.
It's a battle in every single game this year. In the conference is a flat-out battle.
After this weekend, 6 remaining games in SEC play, 2 more series to go. Alabama has Missouri and at South Carolina. Florida has at LSU and then Oklahoma here for 3 games to close out the regular season.
Yes, challenging. A lot of big series left, a lot of opportunities to continue to firm up that resume. This is an Oklahoma team, Alabama team that after that big win against Oklahoma looks very different. You see that record, strength of schedule, obviously one of the best in the country.
Yeah.
RPI continues to get better.
Hevlin out to center and on the run, the scoop, and the catch is made by Falby. 2 down. Is Alabama going to challenge?
Yeah, and I think Murphy was kind of pointing over to Caleb Rowe at first saying, hey, did this get down? It almost looked like it got down. It was hard to tell if she got glove underneath of it. And I think Murphy's going to ask the umpires to talk about it a little bit.
I love how he deferred to Kayla Breaux, one of the great outfielders in Alabama history.
Yeah.
Who is their assistant and first base coach.
The call in the field is a catch. Alabama is challenging that call. The play is under further review.
All right, so the review underway. Looked, obviously that's a little grainy, but it looked like it was a catch. And that is the ruling on the field, so you need evidence to show otherwise to reverse it. This is what Birmingham's looking at. And
After review, the call in the field is upheld as a catch. This is Alabama's first challenge.
call on the field is upheld, so 2 down.
It's a great speed of Kendra Falby to get that leather at the last second underneath that ball. Falby having herself a game. So that big hit last inning, comes up with that really clutch catch.
You think of the likes of a Michelle Moultrie or an Amanda Lorenz, some of the great outfielders in their history. We mentioned Breaux or a Kelly Kretschmann, Brittany Rogers on the Alabama side.
Yeah, the series has always had some great outfield play.
Yeah. 0-2 here from Ava Brown. Feeling good with a 4-0 lead.
Brown's done a good job, second time through the order now for Alabama. Trying to make those adjustments. Brown continues to mix those 3 different speeds, screwball, changeup, a little bit of a spin, up spin, rise ball. Doesn't use that one a whole lot. Has been very good in the lower half of the zone.
Elistad, and out to left center, drops that one on the grass for a 2-out base hit.
Alice said on the pitch prior, changeup lays off it. This is a screwball in the outer half, so just continues to look outside and just gets enough of the barrel.
Stick the bat
on
out
it.
there.
Exactly. Yeah. Stay with it, follow through, especially on a pitch that's going away from you. Gets that to dump out onto the green.
So here's Riley Valentine. Struck out looking at a screwball. Her first time up. It is the only strikeout of the game on either side. A lot of balls in play tonight.
Yeah, it's a lot of pitch to contact, using that defense.
And second base, Mia Williams right there. Florida, a few years back. Of course, Stacey Nelson in the mid-2000 aughts, really the driving force in Florida's first teams to break through and get to the World Series and start competing for national championships. And they have been a perennial contender ever since.
Yeah, a couple of champ series before breaking through and actually winning that national championship.
2014, then they came back and did it again 2015. That is the last time that an SEC school has raised the trophy.
Yeah, Florida beat Alabama in that 2015 champ series. It's been a while since
2014. Michigan the next year, yeah, with Sierra Romero.
It's been a while, though, for the SEC to really knock on the door of that natty.
Walsh. And the catch is made by Hawkins. It's 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Gators. Of course, with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma this year, the two teams that played for the national championship a year ago. SEC looks really strong. I count possibly 9 or 10 potential seeds and hosts for the regionals of the 16.
Yeah.
That'd be something.
Well, it's going to be guaranteed to be a couple SEC Supers.
Probably.
Yeah.
Most ever at the World Series from one conference is 5. SEC and the Pac-12 have both done it. RPI is not the only indicator, but it has proven to be a favorite for the selection committee. And there you see the numbers. Florida at 2 in the RPI.
Well, I think that RPI, strength of schedule, those are the things that the eye test as well. It's so important for the committee members. What are we doing early in the season versus late in the season? Late in the season, you get on a roll.
Williams reaches for that, 2 down. First strikeout for a Bama pitcher. There you see the Gators' resume at 37-10. That number 3 strength of schedule, the 2 RPI, the 10 wins, most significantly 2 against A&M. On the run, Kristen White makes the catch. And how about a 1-2-3 inning for Brea Hodges? But it remains 4-0 Gators. She struggled in her very first at-bat against Audrey Vandegrift, and not a whole lot cooking since then for the Tide. 5, 6, and 7 due up here in the 4th.
Well, she's been efficient and just getting her out, working mostly ahead, continuing to challenge the hitters underneath the hands. You know, we talk about it a lot, Beth, how important it is to be able to throw on the inner half of that strike zone, control the ability to keep hitters off the plate so they can't be diving in on pitches on the outer half of the plate.
She has allowed just 1 base runner into scoring position so far tonight. So it's now 9 straight scoreless innings for Alabama. Remember all the damage done last night in the first inning, and they put up a 7 spot.
And a lot of that was self-inflicted by Florida. A couple of errors, hit batters, 3 I think in that inning. That's the recipe for disaster when you just can't close that door. And when you're trying to get 8 outs in an inning, forget about it. You're giving all those free passes away.
Here's Dukeshire, who does have a base hit and now has a walk. So Abby aboard for the 2nd time. And that is the 3rd in 4 innings with the leadoff aboard.
Well, and situationally, you look at the game, Florida's done a very good job. They're 3 for 6 with runners on. Alabama is 0 for 6.
So here's an opportunity for the Tide. Can they get something going? Larissa Pruitt, sacrifice bunt, her first time out. And Pruitt laces that out to center. 2 aboard with nobody out.
That's just a really good clutch at bat for Pruitt. For a pitch on the outer half, you can see that she's more than likely hunting a screwball or something on the outer half. And that's actually a drop ball that's elevated, stays up in the zone. It doesn't have any out to it. And when you've got a drop ball elevated at your belt, you've got to be able to attack it. Pruitt deserves a smile. Nice bash back up the middle.
Marley Giles coming up for the Tide after that first hit with a runner on base. Oklahoma, by the way, has gone final. The Sooners shutting out Mississippi State tonight, 4-0. Sam Landry, a 3-hitter. So they are now just a game back in the loss column behind Texas A&M. And LSU threatening to knock off Texas tonight. The top two in the standings could both lose and really tighten things up top.
One of those years that, you know, I almost cringe when we're like, all right, who are your 8 teams going to the World Series? Am I allowed to be 50-50?
Well, prior to today, with Missouri's win, these two teams were the only two that beat Texas A&M in league play. But there you see the updated standings with A&M's loss and Oklahoma's win. Remember, those top 4 teams get a double bye. Very difficult. In fact, it's only happened once, that Ole Miss team that came from outside of the byes to win an SEC tournament.
Was that 4 games they had to win?
Yeah, 4 games in 4 days.
And this year it would take 5 games. More teams, more play-in.
The other big thing to watch is the Missouri Tigers. They are now 3 games below 500 with 6 to play. So they need to go 5-1 to assure themselves of a winning record. And with their resume, they would get into the tournament most likely. A strikeout here of Giles for the first out. That's a big one for Brown.
Yeah, that's a really clutch pitch in a situation where she needs it. Look at the way this pitch is just going to tumble. That's an off-speed pitch. It blends in. It looks like her drop, but it's off-speed, and it just shows up a hair later than what Giles is thinking. It just falls off the table, so she's got great movement on that.
Hawkins, a rope, back it goes, and it's
inside pitch and barrels it up and just squeaks it over that outfield fence. That 3-run shot that 3-run shot puts Alabama on the board and down just by 1.
How quickly things change in this rivalry. 4th in her career, but her first as a member of the Crimson Tide for the transfer from Mississippi State. And here's the 9-hitter, Kristen White.
Wow. Yeah, that felt like one of those first pitch swinging, like if she throws me on the inner half, I'm going for it.
I'm all in.
Hey, and sometimes you have to do that. I've done that plenty of times in my career that I'm like, I'm hunting this. She throws me outside, because I didn't like inside pitches. She throws me outside, I'm taking that one oppo.
Never hunted on inside pitch in her life.
If I hunted it, I swung through it.
That'll get Caitlin Oxley up in the Florida bullpen. White trying to put some pressure on the defense, and does. She'll head to second as Kayla Bro ducks for cover, the first base coach. May have taken a hit on that.
Well, both these teams like to create some chaos, and Kristen White does just that. She gets that super high hop, and Brown knows she does not have time. The throw is offline just a little bit, and the ball,
oh, that's embarrassing, Kayla Bro. You're an All-American outfielder.
I don't know that are you allowed to protect yourself?
Can you bring a glove? We got to get her
that is a good question.
A helmet like your buddy from the Yankees.
That's right. Don Zimmer.
Don Zimmer.
He was wearing.
So I guess score that a single, and then an E1 on the throw allows White to get to second. And that is now the tying run in scoring position for Bama, and back to the top of the order. Audrey Vandegrift, the go-ahead, had the walk-off home run to not only win Game 3, but win the series against Oklahoma last weekend. All 4 of her home runs have come against the best opponents. A walk and a ground out so far tonight. Third time through the order, and that will drop in fair. Diving into third base is White.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know if Otis just didn't think she could get to this. She kind of pulls up just before this ball hits the ground. She's going at it hard, and then she takes a little bit of an angle instead of going straight to the ball, and it just drops. Again, it's going to be fading away from her by the lefty, but interesting way that she, or interesting line she took to that
like
ball.
She might have been able to get there.
Yes, yes.
Hevlin, a rocket right at Comia, and the tying run scores for the Tide. So the defensive issues from the first inning last night springing up again here in the fourth tonight.
Well, Hevlin is just going to bash this ball right at Comia. And this is hit hard. This is a tough ball to handle, but one that can definitely be made. Probably not going to keep the run from scoring, even if you square yourself up and field that. But that's definitely a ball you got to keep in front of you.
So now the go-ahead in scoring position. Here's Brooke Ellisted. A 4-run fourth for Alabama.
I'm going to call that a single to shortstop.
Fifth hit of the inning for the Tide, including the Salem Hawkins 3-run home run. And they have picked it up offensively.
4 consecutive hits. They have been aggressive early in counts here in this fourth inning. See a definite change, the consecutiveness of Alabama now. It's going right at Florida.
Ellisted singled her last time up. Florida staying with Brown, who cruised through the first 3 innings, and now trouble. It's all started with a walk to open up this inning.
Those free passes, they just figure out a way to haunt you, especially late in the game, second and third times through the lineup.
Also an error in the inning. Full count. Good fight here from Brown and Ellisted.
At this point in the game, it's all about execution. You know what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, they were 0 for 6. You pointed it out. 0 for 6 with runners on base before this inning, and they're 4 for 5 with runners on base here in the fourth, and now they are loaded. The go-ahead is 60 feet away with just the 1 out.
Second walk of the inning, 4th of the game. Alabama just continuing to keep their foot on that gas pedal.
Riley Valentine will be the 9th to the plate this inning, and she may be looking at a new Florida pitcher.
I think at this point, Coach Walton is going to have to make a change.
Brown can still stay in the batting order tonight for Florida, the way they set up their starting lineup. But she will be relieved, and Maybe, is this going to be a double switch?
Yeah, potentially. It looks like Comia may have come out.
Yep, Holtorf in at short.
I love the information Brown given to her teammate.
And the new pitcher for the Gators will be Caitlin Oxley.
So Oxley will actually go into the 10 or the flex spot. Comia was in that spot as the shortstop, not hitting. Brown will continue to hit. She started as the DP, came in to pitch. And Holtorf is now at the shortstop position.
Seven of the 8 that have come up have reached for the Tide in a 4-run fourth. 1 out with the bases loaded for Oxley. 19th appearance with a 2.20 ERA. This is the 8th time she comes on in relief.
Now, Oxley's young, but she's a competitor. She knows how to be in that circle, and this is a perfect situation for her to show that. She's got really good tight spin on her out pitches, combination of a screwball, rise ball. So she's also very heavy arm side as a righty, but she also has a very good changeup to both sides. That's going to be a big part of what she'll need to bring to this. Screwball, she throws about 35% of the time, rise ball 22% of the time in that upper half, but it's that changeup at about 21% of the time on both sides of the plate that can be very effective. Fourth best pitch would be her curveball. She tries to expand the zone. That'll be on the outer half, away from righties into lefties.
Alabama trying to win the series. Florida trying to even it up for game 3 tomorrow. The winner will pick up a game in the standings after Texas A&M lost earlier today. And here is Riley Valentine, 0 for 2. Infield pop, and that is a big out for Oxley, 2 down.
Yeah, that's the killer for Alabama. That's the situation, bases loaded. You got to put that somewhere out on the green, but for Oxley, that's exactly what you want in that situation. Try to induce those infield pop-ups. Nobody can go anywhere.
Abby Dukeshire started out this inning with a walk. Back up again, and another pop-up. And that one will get out of play.
So Oxley right away showing that rise ball. It's effective. Brown was a lot of screwball down in the zone. Oxley now using that rise ball, that up spin up in the zone, trying to miss that barrel.
Three and a third innings work for Brown, and now Oxley trying to shut it down with the bases loaded. Got Dukeshire thinking about it with the changeup, 0-2.
That's the knee buckler right there.
Out in front. Good speed on the bases for Alabama. It's the top 3 in their lineup. There's Vandegrift, the go-ahead at third, with Hevlin and Ellisted also aboard. Another infield pop-up. This one to the left side, and Oxley comes on to shut it down. But not before Alabama. They left the bases loaded, had a chance to take the lead. And now it's back to work for Florida in the bottom of the fourth against Hodges. Brown, the starting pitcher who got pulled, but stays in the lineup with her bat. Ava doubled and scored in the 3-run second inning for Florida. They also have a solo home run from Taylor Shoemaker. She would be due up 4th this inning. One, two from Hodges.
love the fact, too, that Coach Murphy's staying with Hodges. Opportunity for the freshman. You know, she comes in down a 4 spot. Alabama puts this game right back in business for her, and she's going to stay out there and have the opportunity to really be challenged. And that's how you grow as a young freshman.
And certainly the biggest moment of her young career here on the road.
She's got that good velo. She's working that rise ball on the top of the zone.
Coach Murphy told no lies. She's thrown a lot of strikes tonight.
Well, and that's a big part of the game, right? You got to tell your players what you want them to do. I mean, a big part of it, you got to put it out there in the universe. Say what you're going to do. Ooh, just off. Well, with Giles, you know, I'm a big believer of that, especially for pitchers. You've got to, you know, speak yourself into the existence of what you want. I'm going to throw strikes. I'm going to win this game.
Positive self-talk.
100%.
And ball 4 to Brown. Free passes starting to pile up. So game 1, the 4 runs on 6 hits. Their risk was 3 for 12. And here in game 2, 4 runs on 4 hits. Have not had a whole lot of other chances with a runner in scoring position just yet. Fourth free pass, however, and this one to lead off the inning. Here's Riley Holtorf in the 9 spot. She walked and scored on a double steal in that 2nd inning. Alabama win tonight, by the way, pulls them even with Florida. A 9-8 record. LSU and Ole Miss also coming into the day at 8-8. That LSU game has gone into the 7th inning, and they are beating Texas right now, 4-1.
LSU team, a lot of talent as well.
That's Sydney Berzon trying to pick up the win for them. Texas trying to bounce back from that loss at home to Tennessee in that series. Terrific comeback by the Lady Vols behind Carlin Pickens.
Well, it's interesting the way a lot of these SEC coaches now are actually starting to use their pitchers in some of these matchups. It's not always the ace throwing that primary game 1. Coach Murphy's, we've seen it, lose game 1, but ability to still come back and win the series by winning game 2 and then the rubber match on Sunday. And, you know, we talked about this. There's so much talent in the SEC that I didn't think this year that there were going to be many, if any, sweeps. There have been a couple.
Yeah, they've certainly been the rarity. Florida has one of those, a sweep of Auburn. Holtorf out in front again.
Every single game just so important. You know, even you get to game 3, if you maybe drop the first 2, it just, we talked about it, Beth, it's resume builders. You got to keep the chin up and keep thinking, all right, this singular game could be so important to us at the end of the season.
Well, the Gators are making Hodges work a lot harder this inning. It's already 18 pitches to the first couple of batters. And it's back-to-back walks to the 8 and 9 hitters, and here comes Falby.
Oh, this is where Florida's just really good coming into today's game. 211 walks as a team. They've already put up a good share of free passes, 4 on the afternoon, 2 walks here in the 4th. A hit batter and a walk in the 1st and 2nd.
So 2 on with nobody out. Kylie Shaw is the pinch runner out at second. She now is the go-ahead run for the Gators. And they're going to huddle up. Pitching coach Lance McMahon out to talk to Hodges. There's more activity in the Alabama and the Florida bullpens. Ailey Johnson is on the left and Emily Winstead on the right. Neither has made an appearance yet in this series. Hodges trying to hold down the fort after Alabama scored 4 runs in the top half of the inning to tie it up. And now the Gators threatening.
Gators looking like they're going to potentially play a little bit of small ball here, try to get these runners up into scoring position. So Falvey can bunt, she can slap, she can stand in and hit. And this is where it's really tough as an infielder. You've got to make sure that you're watching her feet, watching her hands.
Thought about the bunt again there, 2-2. So it's slap or swing time. And 3 straight batters to open up the inning with 3-ball counts.
This is where Hodges, the freshman, is still struggling a little bit with that control as you learn as a freshman.
Falvey, a high hopper over the head of Hawkins. And a run will score. The Gators back on top.
And how about Kendra Falvey? A couple of situations with runners in scoring position where she's able to contribute. It's her 3rd RBI of the night. Pitch on the outer half. She doesn't try to do too much with it. She just uses the ground. Crosses over, bashes it down. The infield is in. Gets it over Hawkins' head and gonna get her teammate and pitch runner Shaw in to score the go-ahead run. Florida back on top.
Shoemaker.
Falvey with the base hit back up the middle, and then the freshman Shoemaker, who moves up into the 2 spot in game 2 here, takes a pitch on the outer half and just attacks it, drives that right through. Look at the flat barrel, nice extension, and that's what allows that ball to jump off the back end all the way to the wall. Easily gonna score her teammates. Falvey coming in all the way around from first base.
So Hodges got into trouble with a couple of walks at the bottom of the order, and Falvey and Shoemaker coming through. 7-4 Gators, nobody out. And Florida fans are going to mark this one down on their calendar. This could be the one that gets Taylor Shoemaker back on track and humming along. Her 15th double of the season. Over half of her hits now on the year for the freshman are extra base hits. As Emily Winstead comes on, the 3rd pitcher of the day for the Tide.
Winstead's going to be a little bit of a different look in the sense that she's going to work that curveball about 52% of the time. And at this point in the game, it's going to be really about controlling the strike zone, limiting those free passes that Florida does so good at racking up. She's going to be mid to high 60s, a little bit more up in the zone. She's got that curveball and changeup that she likes to throw, so she'll be curve at about 52%, rise at about 20%, and that changeup about 14% of the time, so a lot more upspin. Just trying to limit damage here.
Yeah,
shut the door.
Working this bullpen. Winstead's 7th appearance in SEC play. Jocelyn Erickson. She's been hit by a pitch and walked.
Erickson in the 2-hole yesterday. Coach Walton makes a little bit of a switch. Schumacher in front of Erickson, so Erickson is protecting Schumacher, gives her a couple of good pitches to hit. And it's always interesting how one little change in the order can create such a difference, giving Schumacher a couple of pitches, opportunities to see better pitches.
And she's trying to bring Shoemaker in right now from second. 60% of her hits are extras this year. Slashes that one right back up the middle, and here comes Shoemaker to score. An RBI double for Erickson. And the top of the order smashing tonight.
Erickson just doing almost the complete opposite gap as Shoemaker. So Shoemaker goes to the right center gap, and Erickson is just going to go to the left center gap, gets this ball all the way to the wall. Just amazing hitting by both these athletes in those 2 and 3 spots. We've seen a lot of consecutiveness by both these teams, hitting back to back to back.
Still no outs, and it's Corby Otis's turn. 0 for 2 tonight. Skies that towards White in center. 1 down. There's Reagan Walsh. Singled in the first, popped to short in the third. Fouled out of play. As a pitcher, Smitty, I know it's not what you like to see, but it is it's a crooked number kind of night on the scoreboard. A 3-run inning, a 4-run inning, a 4-run inning.
Well, and we've seen a lot of game 2s like that.
Yes.
You know, and that's why some coaches have chosen to throw their ace in a potential situation where I'm going to throw him in game 2. I want to win game 2 knowing I might be going up against a 2 or 3 pitcher out of the pen of my opponent.
Walsh gets into one, off the top of the wall, and it comes back in. And a long RBI single for Reagan.
That's probably the longest single of the year that we've seen. Walsh just tattoos this ball. The launch angle off this is probably at about 20%. If she gets that at 21 or 22%, that ball would have been gone. Oh. That is off the very top of that wall. Wow, that ball was just smashed.
That was a rocket, too. The exit velo was
probably up at 80 miles an hour, yeah.
And now what does Murphy do?
Sometimes those floodgates open, it's hard to get the doors back shut.
So 4 of the top 5 in the order here have driven in a run this inning. Ailey Johnson is the last option out there in the bullpen. Got to think he wants to save Brisky for the start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Could go back to Caitlin Riley, the starter, who did not get out of the second inning tonight.
Well, I think in a game like this, you've got to go back to Riley before you obviously would go to Brisky. You just got to put someone out there that's going to get some outs. Obviously, run Riley back out there if you have to make another change. She would be burnt.
Pitch in the dirt. Walsh down to second. And the wild pitch.
And these are the games that just sometimes are just so difficult because it's just hard to control pitches. It's hard to control every part of what you're going through emotionally, trying to close that door. You feel like no matter what you're trying, it's just very difficult to stop your opponent.
2 walks, that's how things started. They've both come in to score. A couple of doubles, 6 of 7 have reached. It's another wild pitch.
Consecutive wild pitches. Going to get Walsh all the way over to third, but you know, Florida doing to Alabama exactly what Alabama did last inning when they had 4 hits in a row.
Yeah. Well, for the second time tonight, now if you're on the Gator side, you're thinking, all right, step on it. Let's get that run rule back in play.
Yeah, because this is all about saving arms at this point and being in a good position to attack in game 3 if you can get the win here for Florida being up.
Williams pops it up. Hawkins gives chase. 2 down. Well, and here's a big moment for the Alabama transfer, Kenleigh Cahalan. She's the 9th to come to the plate this inning. Singled in the first. Second high-profile Alabama transfer in recent years to come to Gainesville. Of course, before that, the All-American Skylar Wallace.
I'm sure Cahalan would love to send a ball out of the yard here. Error last night contributed to some of those runs being put on the board in that first inning.
Cahalan, backhanded by Duchscher at first. But another big inning. 4 Florida lead. Trying to even up this series after the Tide took game 1 last night. Larissa Pruitt right down the line. 1 pitch, 1 out.
And that's really what you start to see some of these innings in game 2s when you're starting to use the whole bullpen, is that pitchers will get to 1 strike or 2 strikes, can't find that out pitch to be able to roll the 1 pitch out.
Oxley takes something off of that at 52 miles an hour. Here's Marley Giles in the 7th spot in the order.
The most important part of being a young pitcher is just continuing to develop tools, just something to have a different luck, just get consistent with it, ability to hit the corners, throw from ahead.
Two and 1. Misses high, 3 and 1.
Actually throws that off-speed rise ball at the top of the zone. And that's a tough pitch to really throw when you're behind. Works far better when you're ahead in the count.
Full count. And the 1-out walk to Giles.
Free pass of the night given up by the Gators.
Here's Hawkins. 3-run home run her last time up, her first. as a member of the Crimson Tide. Out to Falvey in center. 2 down.
Oxley settling in a little bit here. You know, sometimes too when you're in the pen, if your pitcher's rolling along, kind of how Brown was, and then things fall apart very quickly, you may not always be 100% ready when your name is called coming out of the pen, and that's a big part of learning your job if you are in relief in a game. How long does it take you to get ready? And how quickly can you get warm, can get in a position that you're going to make some quality pitches if your name is called?
And that looks like the left-hander, Olivia Miller, out in the pen right now for the Gators.
She did a good job last night. She threw 4 1/3 innings last night.
Alabama has scored 11 runs in the series. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is their 12th inning. They've only scored in 2 of the 12 innings.
That's exactly right.
But 7 of them last night in 1 inning for a win. And 4 in 1 inning tonight to make things interesting. Otherwise, the Gator pitchers on it.
If you go back and you look at that last inning, it really was just a couple of walks that aided Alabama being able to get on the board. Obviously, giving up that 3-run shot to Hawkins, part of it. But yeah, it's tough when you're starting to go second and third time through the lineup. You've just got to figure out how to get out pitches, and a lot of young pitchers, it just takes time, experience, and you don't learn that when you only have 10 innings of experience, 30 innings of experience.
White slaps that to short and rifled over to first by Holtorf to get the out. 9-4, Florida on top of Alabama. We'll have it for you on ESPN2 tomorrow afternoon at 2 Eastern on this Easter weekend. Here's Ava Brown, 8, 9, and then the top. Bottom 3 in the order have scored 5 times.
Yeah, they've been outstanding. First time through the lineup, so it's hits. Second time through the lineup, they drew walks. Most importantly, they were on base. And the top of the lineup rolled over. And that's what makes this Florida team so tough. When that lower half of the lineup is getting on and you're bringing up a Falvey, a Shoemaker, a Erickson. It's tough.
And a strikeout for Winstead. 1 down.
Winstead is just going to catch Ava Brown looking on a backdoor curveball. So that curveball is going to be thrown at the knees. It bends back in the zone. I think Brown thought that might have been a little low.
Holtorf drops down a bunt, and that'll make its way outside the line. That LSU-Texas game has gone final, and LSU a winner over Texas. So that keeps A&M still in first place, a game up in the loss column over Texas and Oklahoma now. Number 2, Texas A&M has 1 less game. They had a canceled game with Georgia. Could come back around into play. The regular season champion is determined by the best winning percentage. Actually happened with Florida and Auburn involved in 2015 in a tight race. Florida had the better winning percentage with one less game played as Holtorf drills that out into center.
Holtorf has been great in this 9-hole, a couple of walks and now a base hit. That's a curveball that just does not get to the outer half of the plate, right down the middle, and Holtorf is just going to drive that right back up the middle. There's one thing about Florida tonight, they have been on time.
And here comes the top of the order again. 4 of the top 5 have an RBI, at least one of them tonight. And Kendra, a 2-run single in the second, an RBI single in the fourth. Thinking bunt has the corners crashing.
It just plays into her ability then to stand in and hit. She's got the defense in. I saw her do that last time, so she'll look bunt, she'll look slap, pull the defense in, and then she'll just high hop it right over your head.
If Kendra can reach safely here, the potential game winner would come to the plate and bring the run rule into effect for the Gators with the heart of their order coming up, including the home run hitter from earlier, Taylor Shoemaker. Right back up the middle, and Holtorf will head for third. Runners on the corners. And the game winner now stepping in. This is what she did in the first inning, a no-doubter, ripping that one out to right. There were a pair of walk-off home runs last night in SEC play. Reese Atwood and Taylor Pannell. Still just the one out. A 3-run home run here in the 5th to walk it off.